Hello, citizens of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. My name is AJ. I am the A to Z artist. It's been a little while since I posted a video. It's just been a really kind of crazy time. I'm going to go into that a little bit more later on in the video after the kind of bulk art of it. If you've come for an art video, I'm going to give you an art video. If you want to stick around for some of the more personal stuff, go ahead. I really appreciate it, but I'm going to save that to the end. That way you kind of get what you came for. So, to go into it a little bit briefly, my main issue was kind of a burnout. I tried to do too many things at once. With work and everything, doing 2 videos a week was very hard to get done. But, I'm back. I'm back for good. Let's get into this week's video because it's kind of really exciting for me. I decided to step into another art challenge, which I've talked about before on this channel. I love doing art challenges. They are really inspiring, especially because the person starting the art challenge is giving you a prompt to begin with. This week, the art challenge comes from PopCross Studios. Christian Pearson, who is one of my favorite YouTubers right now. I love watching his art videos. And he does a lot of stuff like this, where he takes characters and fuses them, but he also takes characters and swaps them over to different genres, and this month he wanted his community to do the same thing. The basic idea behind a genre swap is you take a character from a known property and switch them over to a different genre. So the idea is putting Darth Vader into a samurai setting. That idea is what genre swaps are centered around, and so I really wanted to play with this idea, and I did struggle a little bit trying to decide on what characters I wanted to do for it, but in the end I did settle on Critical Role because I love D&D, I love fantasy. I almost went Star Wars because I always go Star Wars. I mean, I have a new Star Wars shirt, so it kind of is my obvious go-to, but I wanted to kind of break out of my mold and see what would happen if I took a fantasy character and put them in a different genre. In this case, I took 2 fantasy characters and put them in a Wasteland apocalypse genre, i.e. Mad Max, Escape from New York, kind of that post-war, destroyed landscape, scavengers roaming about kind of setting. I really love that aesthetic, the really piecemeal kind of armor and stuff like that. So I wanted to work with it and see what I could do with 2 fantasy characters. I had so much fun with this video. I'm probably going to do a part 2 and with more characters because, like I said, this one, since I was doing 2 characters and they're very heavily detailed, I could only fit them in to this one video. I was going to do more, but I just ran out of time. So I have a lot of different ideas coming. So expect a part 2 at some point because I had a lot of fun with this and I want to do it again. Be sure to leave a like if you like this video. Leave a comment down below, either with your thoughts on my art or my character design or just my question of the week, which I'll have at the end of the video. And see if you like my type of video. If you do, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. The main focus with these character designs was putting them in a genre of like the post-apocalypse, wasteland, dystopic, Mad Max style, war-ravaged world that is very popular right now. I've always really enjoyed that kind of genre and aesthetic, especially because you can get some really cool character designs that are like heavy metal or just piecemeal. I just like that kind of like scavenged armor look. It just is something I wanted to play around with. And so I kind of already had an idea of where I wanted to push at least one of these characters, Grog, which you're seeing me draw right now. As a Goliath barbarian, Grog is a half-giant rage monster, and because of that, I wanted to play with a Hulk aesthetic. I mean, you can give Hulk the same descriptive adjectives for his character design. And so for the first time in a long time, I knew where I wanted to push this design. I knew that I wanted him to be this really big, bulky character with these really piecemeal pieces of metal just kind of hanging off of him, and that was something I tried to push, but I didn't know what to do with the story aspect of it. I didn't know. It was very superhero-y. I could have just easily made him a Hulk character and kind of did a little bit of artistic plagiarism there. But no, I decided I really wanted to do this Wasteland apocalypse kind of feel. And to figure that out, I pushed into one single question. That's the main theme of this story that I was trying to tell with these 2 character designs. And that is war. What caused this wasteland in the first place? War. And what does war cause? It eventually leads to innovation, usually at the cost of human lives. That pushed me in a direction that made sense for Grog's character. The U.S. government develops these super soldiers, these guys who can just go out and, at the peak of human physical ability, can fight off terrorists or whatever else. At the same time, they didn't realize that when they were messing with human DNA, they left weak points, allowing for radiation from nuclear weapons to affect them and turn them into these kind of these hulking monsters. I figured that was a good way to go with this character because it incorporated the rage aspect, but also incorporated kind of the fact that Grog isn't the smartest character. I wanted these irradiated super mutant kind of creatures to be kind of stupid, just because it kicks into the lizard brain, so you're more instinct than intelligence, which is all Grog's character to a T. And it just fit the character design that I was going for. I was happy to I kind of came to that conclusion. Pike I had a little more trouble with because I originally wanted, my original conception for this story was Pike riding on Grog's back. That was exactly all I wanted from this piece, and so I was just like, well, now I have nowhere to go with Pike. I just have a little gnome character on his back. So I really had to kind of delve deeper into her character, what makes Pike Pike, what makes her useful to the team, what makes her, like, why is she an important aspect of the Critical Role cast. And I eventually came to the point where I kind of realized that she is a cleric. She is a healer. And I was going to go in the direction of she was some type of, I don't know, priest or just cleric in general. Like maybe she was a clergy person or something like that, or a church choir person, which would be interesting in hindsight. There would be some interesting story directions to go with that, but I'm kind of glad the direction I did go because I focused less on the religious aspect of her character and more on the healing aspect. I decided to kind of use the base design of a paramedic. I looked up a lot of references for paramedic uniforms and incorporated those into her design, and then you can actually see her clothes underneath all the kind of makeshift armor are the blues I kind of noticed in paramedic. They're not scrubs, but just like that uniform they wear when out and about in the ambulance. And then on top of that, I started adding on random armor pieces that I found by Googling just makeshift armor on Google and seeing what I found. I feel like the character design is a little directionless right now. I did kind of come up with a story I liked, and I liked the idea of her being this kind of former marauder, and I'm creating, giving her the riot shield to give that kind of cleric, heavily armored feel like she has in the game. But I don't know. I don't think I found like that thing that was Pike in this character design. It feels like a fun character design. It was a good challenge, but I don't think I think I could have done better with it. And I don't know. I think I'm a little bit out of practice in some ways, but I don't know. It was still fun. I especially like the shotgun mace she has. I thought about the fact that as a cleric, she's both melee fighter and magic user, and so I wanted something that was versatile, that could be used at a distance and could also whack people on the heads. And so I thought, well, why not make her weapon makeshift as well? Have her be able to smack enemies with it. And so I gave her the shotgun, but I had her also have these scavenged pieces of metal on it, which was kind of fun. I think that might be my favorite part of this character design outside of Grog's just general design in general. I'm very, very happy with Grog. I think he turned out the best of the two, but he also had the most direction with him. So it was a give and take kind of thing. I feel like his story was more fleshed out, so I knew what to add on to his character, whereas Pike was more of just kind of an afterthought. That's my own mistake. I should have focused more, just as much on Pike as Grog. Together, they are very fun and very cool. And I think it makes sense that she's a little bit less well-designed in comparison to Grog, because Grog is the main focal point. He is the guy that you go to first, especially being that big pale skin that he's got. But overall, I think I could have just done more with her design. I don't know. That's just me. My art mentality might be getting in the way of that. But we'll see. You let me know in the comments if you like Pike, my rendition of her in this. My process this time, you might have noticed from the video so far, is a little bit different. Usually you'll see me do my anatomy sketch in Clip Studio Paint, which is the program I use. And then from there I'll go on to the details and stuff. But the video starts off with me having my anatomy sketch already done. I did it traditionally and then scanned it in to Clip Studio. I got that from Patrick Brown, who is a very famous artist. I'll leave a link to some of his work down below. But I was watching a Skillshare video of his, and I'm not sponsored by Skillshare. I wish I was, but I'm not. I just really like their product. And in this Skillshare video of his, where he's teaching about his artistic process, he talks about how he does that. He makes a traditional sketch of the characters in the pose he wants, and then he'll upload that and then ink it and do all that stuff that way. I didn't do it to the extent he does. I didn't do the full character details in traditional media, just because I like the freedom to erase everything and move stuff around with digital. But I do like having that kind of grounded element of the traditional media to start with now, because it I don't know, I think working traditionally just makes it that much of a stronger foundation for what I'm adding on. And just because I think the poses here were much better than what I normally come up with. They're a little more realistic in some ways. I think I need a lot of work, especially on legs and hands and all that. But overall, I think it turned out a lot better. I really enjoyed that process. Let me know if you want to see some of the traditional part of it, but I mean, mostly it's just me doing sketches and trying to figure out the anatomy. Lighting I'm a little bit unhappy with. It's a little bit over the top, and I don't really think I was very focused on like the light's hitting here and this is how it's going to interact. I was just like, put light everywhere because I need to get this video done. For that reason, it's not great. It's not terrible, but overall, I mean, I'm happy with this piece. I really am. There are a lot of things I really pushed, and I'm just glad to get a video back out there. It might feel rushed a little bit, but like I said, sometimes you just got to get art done. The more pieces you finish, the better you're going to get, and I feel like that was the case here today. So yeah, let's get into the outro, and we'll talk about where I've been for the last few. So that was my Grog and Pike genre swapped. I had a lot of fun with that, getting back into making these videos, really pushing myself to really experiment with character design, with posing. There were a lot of things I really tried differently with this piece all around, and I'm happy with the results. On to why I've been gone for the last few weeks. There's no real reason. There's no real family issues or anything like that. I'm fine. I'm not sick. The pandemic has stayed away from my family for the most part. The biggest issues I've been facing have been kind of the typical artist issues. Burnout, or imposter syndrome, busyness and laziness, just not feeling like I have the time to get stuff done when I really do. And just not having the motivation to get stuff done. That was kind of those were the big factors for me. Main problem is I try to do too much. I try to do 2 videos a week when I'm just starting out on YouTube. I know that's kind of the recommendation, but at the same time, it's a lot of work, especially when one of those videos requires a lot of research, a lot of video editing. and one of them requires me to draw. This one took about 10 hours to finish. So there is a lot of work that goes into these videos, and so in order to try and do 2 videos in a week when I'm just getting started, I haven't established a workflow or anything, it's tough. It's tough to come up with ideas and feel motivated to continue on when you have all that going on. I just got to the point where I just didn't feel like doing it anymore because I was burned out. I got also a little bit of imposter syndrome. For those who aren't aware or have a name for it, imposter syndrome just means you feel like an imposter. You feel like you're not good enough to be where you're at. You don't feel like, as an artist, I didn't feel like I was at a level I should be, which is incredibly stupid. You're going to be at the level you're going to be at, and you can only improve. That's what being an artist is all about. But at the same time, it's easy to fall into those traps. So for me, what I did was I did a lot of studies. I thought to myself, well, if I'm not good enough, then I'm going to make myself better. I'm going to push myself to learn things that I feel like I'm lacking in. And I did. I made study a very big priority in the last few weeks. In the end, I think one of the big issues that I faced was just taking things a little too seriously. I was making YouTube a job, which is stupid for the fact that I'm not getting paid for it. And I really enjoy making these videos. I love making these videos. It's fun to go through my process with everybody and talk about it and just get my art out there in a new way for it. I was treating it like I needed to take this super seriously and be on top of my game at all times, and I didn't need to do that. I needed to just kind of relax a little bit and have fun, because the first few videos I did, I loved making them. I had no trouble making them because I was just having fun with it. I was just sitting there drawing and going, this is going to be fun for people to see. And then I got to the point of, well, I have to be careful with this because I don't want people to see it and blah, 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 blah. And no, I just needed to break out of that boundary and make YouTube just fun videos again. Which is weird that I hit that point so early on. I think it's because I'm early on that I had that misconception. But yeah, no, I'm back. There's no more. I'm back to a once weekly schedule. It's going to be Mondays for the most part. This one's going to come out on a Tuesday just because of editing reasons. But Mondays are going to be my posting date, and I'm going to stick to one video a week. At some point, I'll probably get back to a second video with reviews and stuff, because that's something I love to do, but it's just not something that's feasible right now. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for sticking with me this far into the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment. My question of the week this week: which of your favorite characters would you want to see genre swapped? I might do a fan or a community suggestion video coming up here soon. And yeah, subscribe if you like my channel. But with all that said, be safe, be kind, have a little fun this week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Connect the internet. Well, I don't know why that didn't work. The internet's going out. I'm scared. Why can't I connect to that network?